So, Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. This is a fight that I have been waiting for months now, and it's going to be a barn burner. The first fight happened back in November 2020, and to be very honest, I did not know who Brandon Moreno was when that fight happened, and I didn't really expect him to last more than one round, I would say. But he surprised me. He surprised me in that fight. He was tough. He was durable. He came forward with that high Mexican guard, and he pushes his head forward and baits the opponent into trying to take your head off, and he's deceptively quick. He is deceptively quick, and Davison Figueiredo, on the other hand, as we all know, he's known as the god of war. So he comes forward throwing feints, and he comes forward with heavy pressure now. And when he comes forward with that heavy pressure, people crack under that pressure and they make mistakes, and that's what he takes advantage of. So Brandon Moreno has this style where he baits. He uses his head as bait, and he sort of leans forward with that high, tight Mexican guard. He is from Mexico, so typical. But when the opponent goes to punch him, he is deceptively quick. He's not there to be hit. So, and he does not look like the fastest guy or the quickest guy, but he is deceptively quick. And that's what makes his style very effective. Also, he's durable. He's tough, he's gritty. He can dig deep, and actually he didn't even... Yeah, it wouldn't be fair to say if I say that he didn't have to dig deep in the first fight, because he did have... There was a nut shot, and then there was the eye poke, so he did have to dig deep. And then again, exceptional endurance. That's what we see from Brandon Moreno. He does not have cardio issues. He does not have issues with fading, fatigue, or anything like that. Whereas Davison Figueiredo, he has a fighting style that's very explosive in nature. He explodes on people. He has that explosive strength that not many athletes possess. And what he does, he comes forward with heavy pressure, and all the while he's feinting, he's throwing head movements at you, and when he comes forward with that heavy pressure, people fade, people make mistakes, people cannot handle the way he comes forward. He does not take one step back, that man, Davison Figueiredo. And people crack, they make mistakes, and he's like a lion. He's waiting for you to make a mistake, and the moment you make one single mistake, he just explodes on you. And he has heavy hands. He's a flyweight, but he hits like a featherweight. So once he explodes on you, throughout his career he's knocked people out with that style, and for the first time he faced a challenger who did not fall to him and his explosions. Brandon Moreno had a chin of steel in that fight. He took everything that Davison Figueiredo threw at him, and he kept on coming. He weathered the storm, and then the first round was very competitive. Davison Figueiredo won that round, but in the second round he started to fade, he started to fatigue, and that's when Brandon Moreno started to put the pressure on him. And the fighting style of Brandon Moreno is very similar to Nate Diaz, but Brandon Moreno is a lot more effective and efficient with it. Now, Davison Figueiredo does have that explosive style which leaves certain holes in his game. After those explosions that he has, he fades, and he's not the same fighter anymore. So, but then again, he does not have cardio issues. He has no such cardio issue. He can go 5 rounds, and the power that he has in the first round, it's going to be there in the 5th round also. However, what changes for Davison Figueiredo is that since he relies heavily on these dynamic and explosive movements, he fades. He fades radically between. Uh, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even say that. Actually, he has these mini explosions, followed by times where he's trying to rest and recover. And what he does so well is he tries to use the times in which he's trying to recover to study and observe the patterns in the other fighter. And so he manages that quite well. However, in the first fight, we did see that Brandon Moreno starts getting ahead when Davison Figueiredo fatigues. And so, or I should say, when Davison Figueiredo is recovering, Brandon Moreno does start to get ahead, and it's during those times that defending all those takedowns and trying to get up, using a lot of explosive strength from the hips, that's very, very, very draining. And so when he tries to do that, that's when Brandon Moreno gets ahead. And I don't think it's going to be any different in the second fight. I think those are the pockets that Brandon Moreno will have to exploit, because in the times where Davison Figueiredo is fresh, I don't want to say any path, but it's very hard for Brandon Moreno to win the rounds in which Davison Figueiredo is fresh. So he can make them competitive, but I don't think he can win rounds when Davison Figueiredo is fresh. Now, Chael Sonnen came out and he said that this fight is not going to be competitive and it's going to be a KO in favor of Figueiredo. I wouldn't say so. I mean, I would still pick Figueiredo, but I would not say that the fight will not be competitive. As we saw in the Veins show, Brandon Moreno looks confident as hell. He looks like someone who belongs in there, who's born for this. And so I would not bet against him, but at the same time, Davison Figueiredo does have the power advantage over him. He does have that advantage of superior boxing. Yeah, I would say superior boxing, because even though I would say Brandon Moreno is more technical, but the speed and explosive power that Davison Figueiredo has, that puts him over Brandon Moreno in my opinion, because Davison Figueiredo can land a punch and that can put you down, whereas Brandon Moreno does not have that ability. He can land in bunches if Davison is tired or fatigued. I don't think Davison has really good head movement, and I don't see Brandon Moreno landing a lot of shots when Davison is fresh. So overall, what I'd like to say is that Davison can get ahead in this fight at any point, whereas Brandon Moreno really has to pick and choose his spots. He does have the ability to knock Figueiredo out, but that's only going to be if Figueiredo is tired and Moreno puts the pressure on him. So that's the path I see that Moreno can take in order to be victorious and get that UFC flyweight belt. Yeah. What more? So the keys to victory. Listen, there is no doubt in this. Brandon Moreno will have to outwork Davison Figueiredo if he has to win. His output level has to be way above Figueiredo's. So the keys to victory for Moreno, he has to weather the explosive storms, and there are going to be many. So he has to weather them, be tough, durable, not be very compromised after them, and push the pace on him, definitely. When Figueiredo gets tired, he has to push the pace on him. He has to make it an ugly war when he is tired. He has to take advantage of those moments, and they will come. Of course, they will come in the fight. If Brandon can survive the first round, these moments will be there, and they will be there a lot. So another thing is, mixing the grappling. As we saw in the first fight, Brandon Moreno becomes the superior grappler when Figueiredo is fatigued. He can't control Figueiredo a lot on the ground because Figueiredo has really strong hips and core, but he can get him down. And for Figueiredo, trying to get up, and it's difficult when you're fatigued and you have to work to get up from under someone. It's really, really tiring. So that's something that Brandon Moreno should look to do. And for Figueiredo, he has to pace the fight properly. He cannot just explode on him, blow his wad, and try to lean on the fact that he can get people out of there, because as we saw, Brandon Moreno has a chin. He has a phenomenal chin. So he cannot look. It would be stupid if Davison Figueiredo went in there and just blew his wad in one explosion and tried to knock Brandon Moreno out. I think he can take it into the yeah. The second thing that Davison Figueiredo should look to do is attack those legs, because as I said earlier in this video, Brandon Moreno does have that Mexican style where he has that high guard. He leans forward heavy on the lead leg, and so his legs are there to be hit. So if Davison can fire off those devastating calf kicks, and that would severely compromise the mobility of Brandon Moreno, and that's going to give him a really, really good chance to win this fight. Another thing is, now this is very important, because Moreno is a smart fighter. So if Figueiredo comes out and he's like, okay, I'm going to knock his head off, or he's like, okay, I'm going to chop at the calves and then work my way up, Moreno will make adjustments. He's a smart fighter. He has really good coaches in his corner, and so he will make adjustments in between rounds. So what Figueiredo has to do is he has to constantly change those game plans. He can come out swinging for the bleachers and then suddenly change. He can suddenly change and start attacking those legs, and because they will be there. And once Moreno figures that he's trying to do that and he adjusts to that, change in game plan again. So that's definitely something that Figueiredo should play with. Again, it's really hard to do these things between rounds in real time, because listen, it's a fist fight, and there are a lot of things that you have to be aware of, but that's certainly something that champions should be able to do, and Davison Figueiredo is a phenomenal champion. As for the prediction, I would pick Davison Figueiredo, and I would say that it can be a late 4th round or even an early 4th round, but I would say a 4th or 5th round knockout. I do not believe that this fight is going to be a decision. I think it's going to result in a knockout, and both guys are capable of knocking each other out. However, I feel like Figueiredo has a higher caliber gun here, and he can get it done if he is focused enough, which I definitely think he will be. Now, one more thing I noticed is that Brandon Moreno seems very, very confident, which he should be, because he did have a phenomenal fight. But at the Wayne's show, he said that I have felt Figueiredo's power, and it's a human's power. Those were his words. It's a human's power, and I'm not afraid of him. Figueiredo does have some mad power, and so if Brandon Moreno is not careful, he can get knocked out. He has a phenomenal chill, but he has a phenomenal chin, but he can get knocked out. And if that happens, and I believe that's going to happen, so Figueiredo, 4th or 5th round KO.